Hello students, so let's continue with the chapter 1. Today we will discuss the new term, that is the IP address. So what is IP address, students? So each computer on the internet have a unique ID number that is called an Internet Protocol address or IP address. The IP address system currently in use on the internet uses a 4-part number. Each part of the address is a number ranging from 0 to 255, and each part is separated from the previous part by period operator by dot. For example, you can see here just like this is an example of the IP address. This IP address contains 4 parts and each part is separated with each other with the use of the dot operator, okay, or we can say it the period operator also, and each and every part can contain the number between 0 to 255. An IP address can't contain the number lower than 0 and more than 255. Okay, so if we talk about the valid IP address, then it can contain only 4 parts and each part is separated with the help of the period operator, and each and every part can contain 0 to 255 number in itself. Okay, so this is the IP address, and the use of the IP address is to uniquely identify the system that it has to the internet. Okay, now after IP addressing we will discuss the domain name address. Okay, so domain name address, what is, first of all we have to aware with the domain name. A domain name is a unique name associated with a specific IP address by a program that runs on an internet host computer. So students, IP address is numeric address. Okay, so it is difficult to remember various websites IP address, so it is very easy to remember the domain of that website, just like www.yahoo.com, amazon.com, cbsc.nic.in. So each and every website can contain both addresses, domain name address, that's the alphabetical address, and the IP address, that's the numerical address. But it is difficult for us to remember the IP address of each and every website. So domain name is the easy way to remember the website's addresses. Okay, so but it is also a unique name. Domain name is also a unique name associated with a specific IP address by a program that runs on an internet host computer. Okay, this program which coordinates the IP address and domain name. So the process and the software and the program that is used to convert the IP address that is in the numerical format into the domain name that is in the alphabetical address for all computers attached to it, that program or that software is known as the domain name system. So in short we can say domain name system is a software that is used to convert the IP address into the domain name. The host computer that runs this software is called a domain name server. Okay, so the computer on which we can run the DNS software or domain name system software, that is known as the domain name server. So is it clear to all of you that what is IP address? IP address is also used to uniquely identify the system on the internet, but it is a numerical address. It is difficult to remember that address for each and every website. So IP address is converted into the domain name. Domain name is an alphabetical address of any website. It is easy to remember the multiple websites address. Okay, and the process on the software that is used to convert the IP address into the domain name, that's known as the domain name software. And the system on which DNS will work, domain name system software will work, that's known as the domain name server. Now after domain name addressing we will discuss about the HTML. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Basically this language is used to create the web pages, and web pages make a website. Okay, the files on the web server are ordinary text file. To allow web browser software to read them, the text must be formatted according to generally accepted standard. Normally or ordinary, we can say that the web server contains the file in the text format, and to allow web browser software to read them, text must be formatted, and for that a standard is required. The standard used on the web is hypertext markup language. Now after HTML, we will discuss the HTML in chapter number 3 in detail. Only you have to aware that what is HTML now. HTML is a language that is used to create the web pages, and web pages make a website, or we can say it is a standard used on the web. Now after that we will discuss about the URL, that's known as the Uniform Resource Locator. So to identify a web page's exact location, so all of you know that on www there is a collection of multiple web pages. Okay, and each and every web page have the unique address, so that we can easily access that web page from the www. So to identify a web page exact location, web browser depends on the address that is known as the Uniform Resource Locator. Uniform Resource Locator means that everything that is present or that is exist on the www, that is known as the resource, and locator means the address that is used to locate that specific web page, and uniform means unique. So uniquely resource locator. Okay, unique resource locator. So every web page that is present on the www, that is known as the resource, and each and every resource have the unique address, so that we can locate that web page easily. So that address that is used to locate any web page easily and fastly from the www, that is known as the URL. Now URL is a 4-part addressing scheme that tells the web browser. So URL contains of 4 parts URL address contains of 4 parts in itself. Now we will discuss these 4 parts. Now this is the structure of a URL. The first part, HTTP, that indicates to the protocol that which protocol is used in that. So HTTP Hypertext Transfer Protocol, because nowadays you know that on www there is a collection of the multiple web pages, and web pages contains the hyperlinks. Okay, and the web page that contains the hyperlink or hypertext, for transferring of such type of web pages, which protocol is used? HTTP. So the very first part of the URL address is the protocol. Whatever protocol is used in that address, that is mentioned at the very first, HTTP. Now www.Chicago Symphony, so that's known as the domain name. From www to .org, that's known as the domain name. It's the second part of the URL address scheme. And now civics concerts, that's the path name. The third part of URL indicates to the path name, and the fourth and the last part of URL indicates to the file name, means the web page name, the web page address, except that web page address that we want to locate. Okay, so that's known as the URL. URL is a combination of 4 parts. First part indicates to the protocol, second part indicates to the domain name, and domain name means website address, and the next part is the path name, and the last part indicates to the file name, exact web page address of that website that you want to open, or that you want to access, or that you want to locate. Okay, now after discussing this, we will discuss the advantages of internet. All of you are aware that there are vast advantages of internet that nowadays we are using. You know that the internet is using in communication, research, education, financial transaction, and for updates. For all these things, internets are used. Now we will discuss it in detail one by one, just like we can see that what's the use and what are the advantages of communication in communication of internet. So communication is a process transmitting and receiving symbol, data, or we can say that communication is a process in which we can transmit and receiving symbol, gestures, documents, graphics, etc, etc. So it including the process of collecting all these: collection, processing, sharing, retrieving, transferring, etc. Internet now being a main communication tool nowadays, internet plays a very important role in communication, just like by using video conferencing, internet phone, messengers, email. By these all facilities, it plays a very important role in the communication. Now, after communication, we will discuss the next advantage of internet in research field. So in order to do research, you need to go through hundreds of books as well as the references, and that was one of the most difficult job to do earlier. So students, all of you know that when a big research is happen, then for that there are multiple books are required to read out for the references. Okay, so in the field of the research, computer plays very important role because it provides a rich library of books. Research is one such thing which has got lots of benefit from this evolution of internet. Or during research, the scientists want to collaborate with the other countries' scientists, so it's very problematic to move from one country to another country or from one city to another city. So to collaborate their views, scientists make video conferencing, and all these things are possible with the help of the internet. Now we can say that it plays very important role in research. And now after research, we will discuss the advantages of internet in education field. And you all are aware with the use of internet in education, that it is the best thing that the internet can provide. By using internet, we can do the online courses, we can do the study by 24 into 7 hours. There are a number of books, there are a number of practicals that you can do, there are many problems that you can solve by using the YouTube videos. And nowadays you can see the very good example of the internet in education, that we are getting the online education while sitting at different geographical places. So this is the it plays very important role in education field. And now after education, we will discuss about the financial transactions. So nowadays you are using the online transaction by using the net banking, by using the we can say the Paytm, or there are multiple types of softwares or multiple types of apps by which you can exchange some money, by which you can online transaction, you can do the online financial transaction. And its facility is available for 24 into 7 hours. Now here we have finished our chapter number 1. So thank you and have a nice day.